Today I'm going to make a Mexican style sandwich called PAMBAZOS. This is going to be good. Okay, so to make the TELERA bread, here I've already activated 2.5 teaspoons of fast dry active yeast in warm water. What I did is I took 1 cup of warm water, I dissolved 1 teaspoon of sugar, then I added my yeast and let it set for about 10 minutes. And now you can see it's activated. So to start, I'm using 4 cups of all-purpose flour. To that, I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of salt and kind of bury it to the side. Here I have 2 tablespoons of sugar and kind of give that a mix over here to this side. I'm going to go in with my water yeast mixture. I'm going to mix with the spoon. I'm also going to add 1 tablespoon of cooking oil. This is grapeseed oil. So I'm going to combine. You could use your stand mixer. I'm using my clean hands. And this is going to need a little extra water. I'm going in with an extra 1/4 cup of warm water. Now combine well. Okay. So that's combined. Now I'm going to knead this on a floured work surface. By the way, if you find that your dough is still too dry, you could just add a tablespoon of warm water at a time until it comes together. So this is going to take about 10 minutes to knead. Okay, so I have kneaded this. Actually, it was about 15 minutes. I'm going to oil the bowl. And I'm going to oil the dough ball. I'm going to cover this with a tea cloth and put it in my oven or a non-drafty place for about 1 hour to 2 hours or until it doubles in size. The proof time will vary. Okay, so this has doubled in size. So I'm going to, you can punch it down and just scoop it out. I'm actually going to flour my work surface. I'm going to divide this into 5 pieces as evenly as possible. Okay, so I have my dough divided. 5 pieces of this dough is going to be 171 grams per dough ball, if you're weighing things out for accuracy. Okay, so flour the work surface again. I'm actually gonna, there we go. And you could roll this out. Pressing with your hand also works. And just kind of, whoops. Kind of like a rounded oval square shape. I have a thin little rolling pin that I use for dumplings. Give it a good firm roll, press. Just like that. And there's the typical shape that you'd get with pan telera. Okay, so these are done. I have them on my baking sheet lined with a parchment paper. I'm going to place the tea cloth over them and let them proof in the oven. The oven is off. I left the oven light on, and they're going to proof until double in size. The proof time varies. At least 1 hour or 2 should do the trick. So I'm going to place, this is actually like hot water. I'm going to place some hot water at the bottom of my oven. I'm going to preheat my oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so my oven is preheated. I'm going to be baking these for 20 to 25 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And before I put them in the oven, I'm going to spray them with some water. I'm using just a little spray. And then this goes right into the oven. Okay, so the bread is done. I'm gonna remove it. Oh, it smells so good in here. Eee. And here you have it. Okay, so the bread is done. I'm just gonna place it in my basket here and let it hang out. And it is kind of crusty, but as it sets and cools, it does get really soft on the exterior. And this is also something you could do the day before you're gonna make these sandwiches. Day-old bread works for this recipe. Okay, so for the red salsa or the red sauce that you dredge the pambazos in, here I have 8 dried guajillo chile pods that I just took the stems and seeds off, gave it a rinse. I've added a small piece of onion. Here I'm adding some garlic, and I'm just going to let that come up to a boil. Right when it comes up to a boil, I'm going to shut off the heat and let it steep for about 20 minutes. Okay, here I have all of my soaked guajillo chiles, the small portion of onion, 1 garlic clove. To that, you could add salt. I'm gonna add chicken bouillon powder to taste, maybe a teaspoon or 2. I like it. And I'm also going to add a little bit of the soaking liquid, maybe 1/3 cup to 1/2 cup. And now puree. After pureeing this well, you're going to strain it into a bowl. I'm going to add a little more water to the blender, give it a swirl. And now I'm going to pour it over my strainer here just to get anything that didn't get through. By the way, this sauce is perfect for enchiladas. It tastes great, and you just adjust the salt or seasoning to your preference, but this is a great enchilada sauce. If I have some left over, I might make an enchilada or 2. Okay, so for the chorizo potato filling, I have 12 ounces of store-bought chorizo. Here I have 2 medium to large potatoes. It's somewhere in between. These are just russet potatoes, and I'm going to peel, rinse, dice them into a small little cubes, and I'm going to cook this until the potatoes are soft and cooked through, and the chorizo is also cooked and fried a little bit. Okay, so I have my chorizo in a cold pan. I'm going to turn on the heat, and now I'm just going to cook and render as much grease or fat from this as I can. Okay, so my chorizo has a head start here. I'm gonna add my potatoes. You can see I did a small dice for these. And now I'm just going to saute and cook for another 10 minutes. I'm going to add 1/3 cup of water. Give it a stir. Cover with a lid. I'm actually going to turn down the heat here and just let that cook and kind of steam and get the potatoes soft and tender and cooked through. It's going to take another 10 to 15 minutes on a low heat. Okay, so things are nice and steamy in here. And at this point, the potatoes are done. I kind of like them to be a little smushy, but it's really up to you. So I'm gonna shut off the heat, and this is ready for the sandwiches. I'm going to be using green salsa to add to the sandwiches today. So here I have 3 tomatillos, 1 jalapeno, a small piece of onion, and 2 cloves of garlic. I'm going to let these boil for 5 to 7 minutes, shut off the heat, and then I'm just going to puree it, a little bit of salt, chicken bouillon powder, and that's going to be my salsa. Okay, so now I'm going to fill my sandwich with the chorizo and papas, and I like to kind of mash it once I put it in the sandwich. It helps to kind of keep it together. Now I'm just going to enclose it And we're gonna dip it into the enchilada sauce. Okay, so here I have my sandwich, and I'm gonna I kind of like to do this, but it is gonna get messy because you gotta dunk it into your red sauce. Just give it a quick dunk on both sides, just like that. Yeah, I know, it's messy. And right onto a preheated griddle with a little bit of cooking oil. I'm gonna turn that on low. It's gonna pop everywhere. So I'm just going to let it kind of fry and cook on one side for a minute or so. Give it a flip, do the same thing, and then it's done. And then I'm going to show you how I'm going to top or fill the sandwich. So now I'm gonna build this sandwich. It's so good. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.